Hi everyone. My topic today is depression. And if you follow the page I made for my mom, then you know this video was coming. Well, for me, how I believe it all started was when she was killed. If you read the book, seen the movie, of course, you know how Cinnamon shot the gun and Patty had me as a baby and she was holding me in the same room. Now, if you've seen the movie, you can easily picture the whole description of the gunshots, the screaming, and all that stuff. And my favorite part, of course, was when the gun went off not far from me. I still try to figure out to this day why the bullet didn't just hit me. I feel it should have hit me and I should have died along with my mom. I don't know why I'm alive. I don't know God's purpose for keeping me alive, but my life hasn't been at all good. From that moment, I believe, is what triggered me to be so disconnected, sad. I've always had anxiety. I've always been, growing up, I was scared to do anything. I was scared to even get out of my seat because I was afraid I was going to do something wrong, say something wrong. Someone was going to yell at me, punish me, or something. So if you were around me at all growing up, you know I was just the perfect little girl just sitting there. But mostly because I was scared to do anything. Anxiety and depression, I believe, were with me since day one, ever since that happened. And some of you might say, well, you were a baby. It's not going to affect you. You're not going to remember it. If the brain doesn't remember it, the heart and soul sure does. And it stays with you. Whether you think it does or not, it stays with you. It'll stay. It'll trigger you. And just trust me, from experience, it stays. It stays in your heart and soul forever. I'll never forget when I first saw the movie. I just sat there and cried for the longest because I relived it. Even though I wasn't old enough to keep it in my physical memory in my brain, it still took me back to it. It was never easy. It wasn't until I got older that I realized exactly what was wrong with me. It's been a mental illness since before mental illness was even a thing, at least that I know of. You know, when you're growing up in the 80s and 90s, you just think that the person is shy or insecure. And that's what I always thought. That's how I always was labeled, was shy and just scared to do anything. But it's always been anxiety. It's always been depression. It's always been a sadness there that I never could put my finger on. I didn't realize what it was until I was older, until I had my own daughter. And I actually got health care because I went and got on the county. And, you know, they give you food stamps and cash aid and medical. So after I had her is when I started deciding I needed to talk to somebody about it. Because I've always felt depressed. There's always been this deep, and I mean deep, sadness in me. And I didn't even know what depression was until I started looking it up on the computer one day. I remember I finally got the courage to talk to a doctor and tell him how I was feeling. And instead of taking me seriously, he just kind of chuckled and said, "Haha, you're too young to be depressed. You have nothing to be depressed about. You have your whole life in front of you." And I insisted, "No, I'm depressed. I've been feeling like this for years." And he just kind of blew me off and gave me some 1 milligram bullshit tablet that didn't do anything. And it took my whole life to finally get the courage to say, "Hey, I'm depressed. I need help." And I didn't get taken seriously. Depression hasn't just been with anxiety. It's also been with suicidal thoughts. Ever since I was a teenager, I struggled with it because I always felt like I shouldn't be alive. There's no reason for me to be here. I have no talent. I have nothing. It's been hard for me to keep friends and family close because they want me to just buckle down and get out there and do something. And I can't. Like, the job I had last year, I had to quit because the anxiety was causing me chest pains. I still feel the anxiety and chest pains, and the doctor said it's just your anxiety. You're having anxiety attacks, panic attacks. And it's scary. And for somebody to say, "Oh, just go out there and man up or woman up or whatever and do what you gotta do to live," it's not easy. If I go out there and get a normal job, I'm gonna freak out and have a heart attack. And it's not just because of my weight. It's because of what's going on inside. I struggled with this my whole life, and I'm still not getting the help I need. I can reach out and say, "Hey, help me," and people just roll their eyes at me and look like you've been pulling this crap too long, Krystal. Get the hell out of it. Get into the game. Get into the world. No, I can't. I've gotten to the point where I suffer silently. Sitting in the garage, I've been here for the longest now, just silently suffering, just trying to get away from it. Remembering the past, looking towards the future. I don't see a future. I don't see anything. I see just more pain, more suffering, more people ignoring me, not taking me seriously. Some of you might say, "Well, dear, not gonna do anything." No, I can't. I don't have the courage to die. Even though mentally, physically, I want to, I can't. I know there's more out there, but actually doing it is been proving increasingly difficult. I want to get out there and take steps to live, but doing it when you don't have the motivation, nobody to motivate you, nobody to take you seriously. And I don't want to be babied. I don't want somebody to take my hand and lead me on the way. I want encouragement. And for some people, the internet is good enough support. I'm sure there'll be comments on this video saying, "You can do it, you can do it. Just go out there and grab life by the horns." I need a person. I need face-to-face. I need someone to come to my house, call me, say, "Hey, Krystal, let's go out. Let's take life one step at a time. Let's start by getting you out of the house. Let's go to the park. Let's go for a walk. Let's go on a nature hike. Let's do something." That's a start. That'll start. But the depression I've dealt with my whole life has been slowly killing me from the inside out. I don't take care of myself. I've pretty much given up, and I'm just existing. And I'm just gonna exist. That's why you don't see me on Facebook posting much, or on my pages posting much. If I do post anything, it's sad or depressing, or if you're on my personal Facebook page, you see like stupid little funny things that'll probably get me to crack a smile a little bit, or real news, and that's the gist of my day. Facebook, games, and being alone. I have family, I have a husband, I have kids, but that's it. They're there. And take care of my kids, get them to school, cook, clean. That's the gist of my life. There's nothing else. And I don't think there will ever be anything else. The depression is real. The anxiety is real. It affects you in ways you can't even imagine. I remember when I was a teenager, maybe 16, 17, 18, I finally managed to get out and say screw it and just go out. I remember walking to the park, walking to a friend's house, even if they weren't there, just getting out, doing what I wanted. It helped. It helped the mood. It helped me see the world. The exercise sure helped. I lost weight. But once the bad things started happening again, once I got kicked out and had to live with my friend, things just went downhill. 13, 14 years now. It's just been a downhill slope. Every time I find something I want to do, I need to do, it starts. You apply, maybe you get the interview, but you don't get the job. And it's discouraging. And I can hear you saying, oh, just keep applying, keep going. I have no experience. I now have not even a full year of security work. And it's something I don't want to get back into that field of. Getting yelled at, cussed out, lectured, the attempted robberies, and I can't deal with it. You might think it's a cushy job. Yeah, 90% of the time it is, but the rest of the time, it's something you don't want to deal with. Not to mention the hours I worked were nights, cold, lonely nights alone, in a post, a security room, or in a car. You're alone. No one's around. Nobody cares. I tried calling my supervisors for advice, like, hey, I see this person doing this, and they're like, oh, just watch them. Let me know if anything happens, and then they hang up. And a lot of times when I did call them, they wouldn't answer. So you're alone, literally, and with very little training. Like, I had 1 day of training, besides the videos and books and stuff they have you do. Security is not for me. You might think, well, McDonald's is easy, fast food is easy. Do you know how many times I've tried? I've applied for McDonald's, Taco Bell, Wendy's, Del Taco, you name it. They don't want me. I'm old. I'm fat. I'm not a teenager. I don't have potential. I'm not fresh out of high school. I'm not going to school. Doesn't matter if I need a job. They're not going to hire me. They're going to go for the younger, more promising group of people. So, everywhere you go, when you have depression, it sticks with you. It sticks with you. It's always going to be in the back of your mind. Even if you put on a happy face, it's going to be there. Medication can help. Therapy can help. But it's an illness. It's almost like a brain cancer. You can treat it, you can pretend it's not there and move on with your life, but it's always going to be there. It's always going to be affecting you, hurting you. And if you're like me, you have that voice that goes with it in your head, always saying how worthless you are. You're not meant to live. You have no purpose in life. You're not meant to be here. Why are you here? It's always going to be telling you bad things. It's not a schizophrenia. I've seen the doctor. It's just, if you look up depression, there is a lot of people that have a depression with a voice that's always reminding you just how bad you are. And then the anxiety keeps you from reaching out for more help. Having them both is a living hell. Even if you have the strength, the courage to make those doctor's appointments and go talk to them. Maybe you go through that first appointment and you get the referrals for therapy and prescriptions for this and that. Going to the therapist can be a point where you just can't do it. You can't. You're stuck in the bed because you've become a blob of a nervous wreck again. Just a sad, anxious, pathetic blob. I'll wrap it up. So that's been me the last few days and on and off for my entire life. And it all traces back to one event. I'm almost certain if my mom was never killed, I wouldn't be in this situation. If my dad hadn't did what he did, then everything would be different. I could just imagine him, if he'd have just let the paranoia go, let the greediness go, and just kept working, it would have been better. But one person's greedy, selfish act ruined everything. Bye.